All right. Okay. We're a little bit late, but nevertheless, we are going to get started. What we're doing today is we're learning sections of 305, 306, and 307 that relate to Amirah LeNochri. As I've said in the past, Amirah LeNochri is spread throughout Hilchos Shabbos simply because it relates to so many different sections of Hilchos Shabbos. So 305 is actually about working with animals on Shabbos and what types of work they can do, what types of work they can't do, so on and so forth. So in that context, we learn about milking animals on Shabbos through a goy, how to do it, and so on. Okay, we start with 28. Hadosh u'me'avis melachos. Dosh is threshing, which means crushing the grain to get out the grain from the husk. Anybody who removes food or drink from the place in which it's covered, for example, a person who milks an animal, in which case he removes the milk from the udder. This is a tolda of dosh, a derivative of threshing. So mafarik is not exactly the same as dosh, because dosh is a grain from a husk, and this is a liquid from an animal. Not exactly the same, but it's similar. A person who's doing dosh is also removing the grain from the husk. Just started at 305:28. To be chayev, a person would have to talking about milking animals, milking into a empty keli. Okay, so 305:28. So if you were to milk a cow into food, into a loaf of bread. Yeah. If you are to milk a cow into a loaf of bread, and the bread absorbs the milk, or it's into something else that the milk is flavoring it, either one, al pi halacha, that milk is considered like it is oichel, like it's part of the food. So you're taking something out of food, because a cow is basically a walking steak, right? A sheep is a walking lamb chop, and so on. So therefore, you're taking food from food. Now, if it's milk, it's liquid, you're taking liquid out of a solid. That's called mafarik, because it's like covered up inside it, and then you're removing it. However, if it's considered oichel, halachically, when it goes into food or it flavors food, it's considered food, not drink. So it's like you're separating food from food. It's like when you cut a piece of cake from a cake. That's not mafarik. You're just taking a piece of food out of food. Yeah. No. The whole point is that if it's oichel, then you're being mafred oichel ma'oichel. That's not a malacha. If it's mashka, whether it's on its own or with something else. No, that's the whole point. That's what we're saying. Drinking is drinking. It's not eating. Not eating. It's something different. You're going to see. It's not similar to dash, where you remove the kernel from the husk. They're different. And therefore, it is correct to say that you're removing something from inside something else that is different from it, that's covering it. And if you milk into an empty vessel, that the chalav is drink, and you're moving it from the hema, which is food. They're two different things, food and drink, They have different halachas, by the way, in many different areas. For example, Tumah and Tara. There's different halachas about the Tumah of Oichel and the Tumah of Mashke, and so on. So it has different categories, different brachas and brachas, all kinds of things. So the point is, in that case, we're taking out something that's different from something else that covers it, and therefore it's similar to mafarik. Not so if the cholav is halachically, the milk is halachically considered food. So it is like you are removing something that is food from the behema, which is also food. It's basically like you're taking a thick piece of food and you're cutting out another piece from that piece. This is not considered like you're moving oichel from a place that it's covered up in. That's not a cover. It's like you stick your knife into the middle of the cake, cut out a piece, and you take it out. That's not mafarik. You're taking something inside of something else, and it's all the same. It's not mafarik because it's not covering it, it's part of it. We're talking about milking into a oichel. So therefore the oichel, the milk is considered oichel, and it's not mafarik because it's taking oichel out of oichel. Yeah, taking out, putting in. Yeah.
So if I already milk, the milk from before,
yeah,
it doesn't have a din of a mashke.
Of course it does. Why not? If it's absorbed in oichel, correct.
Only if it's absorbed in oichel?
Either absorbed or flavoring oichel.
I just understand that for the milk, the category doesn't have the din of mashke.
Why are you, what?
I know,
If it's into oichel. If it's going into oichel. If it's going into oichel, then it's not considered mashke, it's considered oichel. Because it's going into oichel, therefore it's considered oichel. That's what it is. Yeah, but it depends. Moshe says that if you're feeding your kids cereal in the morning because you want them to have the milk and the water from vitamins that they introduce into the milk, which either it's healthy or not, but let's just say it's healthy. So you want them to have that milk. So then he says you have to say shahakal on the milk separately than the cereal, because you know. So normally the milk is there to flavor the cereal. You're right, it's secondary. But if it's a primary thing because you want them to drink it, then it gets its own bracha, and then you wouldn't be allowed to. So if you want cornflakes for an adult and the milk is to flavor it, you're right. This is all midaraisa, by the way, not midarabbanan. We're going to see soon. But if the milk is wanted also separately, then it would not be. So it depends. Yeah, it could be. Nevertheless, midarabbanan, you are not allowed to milk even into food. Because it's forbidden to eat the animal on Shabbos. What does it say by you? What does it say?
Does it in the middle?
Are
you finished it? Are you going to continue much forward?
Yeah, I'm up to Shem Zem Shem Vaygal Makom Shem Skasa. B'em Nish Enze Nachshav Kisu Lezeh. I'm up to Nish Enze Nachshav Kisu Lezeh. Umikol Makom Medivrei Sefer Midarabbanan Asa Nachlev Afilu L'Sech Oichlem. You're not allowed to milk even into food. If you shekevin shebehem enu l'achila b'Shabbos, machbas is shchita, ein shemechol le'aveik b'psoila. Fak b'techa chalav she'echol is the dem l'dash. Shemfak echol b'techa b'soilas. Listen carefully, my friends. L'maisa, even though a cow is a walking steak, like we said before, and a sheep is a walking lamb chop, nevertheless you can't shech them on Shabbos. So they're actually not fit for eating on Shabbos. Midaraisa, they're still oichel. In theory, they could be shechted, even though it's forbidden to. So they're still oichel. But midarabanan, we consider it psalus, since in practice it's not edible on Shabbos. So therefore, milking it even into oichel, which is not also midaraisa because it's oichel ma'oichel, midarabanan is also because it's considered oichel from psalus.
What last week we discussed also with the cow that is not edible?
I think we discussed this. I think we discussed whether it's muktzah or not muktzah. I think we discussed this. The muktzah part we're going to discuss later. Now we're discussing the isser of milking. We'll get to the muktzah part later. The point is...
So basically, so milking the cow is only the rabban.
No, into oichel.
Into oichel.
Into oichel, yeah. Yeah.
Because there's no mitzvah into it, so it can't even put the project.
We're going to see what to do. Not so on Yontif, my friends. On Yontif, if you want to have cornflakes with fresh, unpasteurized, unhomogenized milk, and you happen to have a cow or a goat around, you can milk it into the bowl with the cornflakes already in it, of course. And you can have breakfast. Just make sure to wash that udder beforehand. But other than that, why not?
If the milk just from the cow, drip by itself without any man, it's happened. I don't know, whatever, like.
On Shabbos, it's aser, it's muktzah. We're going to see soon. On Yom Tov, it's mutter. We're going to see it's muktzah. There's no, you didn't do anything aser. It's just muktzah. Exactly. Shabbos is going to be aser. On Yom Tov, I'm not even sure about on Yom Tov. Because on Yom Tov here, it's mutter because it's going into oichel. If it would not be going into oichel, maybe it would be aser, like mashkin shazavu. Could be it's mutter on Yom Tov too. Doesn't have to be a pula. By mashkin shazavu from Paris is also no pula. We learned about it, 320.
Yeah, but the food themselves are edible. Here we're talking about something else.
It's the difference. There's no pula, and it's muktzah. Chazal made exer. Same thing. We'll see. It could be it is. Could be it is. That's another reason for it to be muktzah. Noiled. Maybe it's noiled. We're going to see soon. That's another reason for it to be muktzah. There's two reasons for it to be muktzah. Okay, my friends, all of this was a hakdama. All of this was an introduction. This is Alter Rebbe style. He doesn't just want to tell you, here's what to do with milking cows on Shabbos. That's not the Alter Rebbe style. It's the first time we're learning about milking. The Alter Rebbe gives you the hakdama. This is what mefarik dash is. This is what mefarik is. This is milking into a keli. This is milking into oichel. Now that we know the basic fundamental principles, we can apply it to halacha l'maisa. Mutter chavtes, 29. Mutter LeNochri. Who's here online? Still just me. Oh, no. Yoram is here. David is here from Yerushalayim, and Daniel from California. Yossi's here too. Very nice. David Walker, the one who was coming here. Yaakov took the night off, as you know, he had a baby. Very nice.
Good evening.
Yes. Hi, good evening. Good evening. Yeah. Chana Hinda. He told me, yeah. Very nice. Okay. Chavtas. Here we go. Mutter LeNochri. Lach lava behem b'Shabbos. You're allowed to say to a goy that he should milk the cow on Shabbos because it is in pain from having so much milk. It makes milk every day. Every day you have to milk your cows, if you milk them every day. Because the more you milk them, the more it produces.
So if you milk it like Friday before Shabbos, you have another day.
Not going to work. Not going to work. I'm not a big farmer. I'm not a big farmer, but you have to milk them. The point is, that even though in Kaf HaChaim, I see he points to Kaf HaChaim that if the cow has a calf that will nurse from it, because the animal's pain can be relieved by performing a forbidden activity is allowed. That's if you have one cow that has one calf. But when you're talking about a kibbutz in Israel, for example, that produces milk, you're talking about rows and rows of animals. Maybe there's a few calves around. Fine. They're not going to be able to nurse all those animals.
So this milk will go to you, but you're not going to use it after Shabbos.
We'll see. That's what we're learning. So the point is, you can tell the goy to milk it. Why? They did not.
Done on Shabbos or before Shabbos, by the way?
Either one. They didn't make a decree on Amirah LeNochri in a case of Tsar Balei which is Medoy Raisa. Very interesting. Notice how he doesn't say you have to do it into Oichel, which would turn it into a Darabanan. Doesn't say. You can tell him to milk it. It's an Isser D'Oraisa, we just finished saying. But, I mean, what the Goy is doing would be an Isser D'Oraisa for a Jew, let's put it that way. But nevertheless, because telling a Goy to work for us on Shabbos, even if he's doing Isser D'Oraisa, I should say what is us and Isser D'Oraisa, is still in Rabbanon, because we're not actually doing it, we're just telling him to do it. So the Chachamim didn't make the decree in the case of Tsar Balei Chaim, because Tsar Balei Chaim is D'Oraisa, right? Not to cause an animal pain. Like we see from the pasuk, Oziv Tazavim, you have to help a fellow when his donkey is overloaded, animals in pain. The truth is that the Gemara has a machlokes about that, because some say you help the animal because of the owner. The owner is in trouble. Because the animal's in trouble, you have to help.
Let's say if he doesn't have any code to work for him,
we'll see later. For now, he's talking about a goy. If there are other ways, we'll have to discuss. The point is that the Tzar Balei Chaim is deraisa according to the Alter Rebbe, and therefore it overrides this Rebbe. When we call Mokim, so sheep LeNochri sachalav la'atzmai, or yachsi v'gnei chalav LeNochri d'ramud. Kedei shlehe nir k'chilo serchus ha'leserch atzmai. Shetil amir mishum Tzar Balei Chaim, אבל יש שעשה בשביל ישראל בשביל עצמai. שכשיש בישראל הוא שלוחם ממש, וכניסה ישראל עשר בעצם של שלום כמייס. I'm just reading the Hebrew, I'll read the English in a minute. Lavshin HaKamelech B'Yisrael, Shanasa Shliach L'Yisrael, Makambak Mechamech Me'okein, Gabi Shabbos Yom Tov Yetzibah. Ach, B'nochi Chasa, Shanasa Shliach L'Yisrael, Shein Nechshav, K'moyse Mam K'Treisa B'Shvila. Av K'Treisa B'Shvilas, L'Ech Mir, L'Ech Le'lem Le'Lasis. Al Derech Yisbar B'Sirsim M'Shan Zayin. Chaim Netim Mishum Tzar Balei Chaim. Okay, listen carefully. So, we want to minimize the Isser as much as possible. Talking about telling a goy to milk the cows on Shabbos. So, in general, it should be mutter, because there's only Isser Rabbanon here, the Amirah LeNochri, and Tzar Balei Chaim's deraisa, according to many poskim. So, nevertheless, the Alter Rebbe says, you have to do it, Machaber brings it in the name of a Yeshayim, you have to do it in a way that the goy is doing it for himself. Why? So the Alter Rebbe explains, there's 2 points about Amirah LeNochri. There's the point of the Amirah itself, the words that you're saying. You're saying words that he should do malacha for you on Shabbos. That's also because of a daber dover. We're going to see it in the next scene. To tell him to do work is us. You're not allowed to talk about forbidden work on Shabbos. Even to another Jew, by the way. Can't tell him I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Tomorrow, do this, do that, whatever. So that's one Isser. Then there's another Isser of the goy working for you, even if you didn't tell him. But it's his job, and he's doing it for you. He's not a kamlan I'm talking about. He's mamish working for you. That's an Isser. So when the goy is doing it for you, because you need the milk, and he's not getting anything back from it, so then you're over on that Isser of shlichus. He's like your shliach. He's like working for you. Even though shluchah shalom kamoy said it only applies to a yid, not to a goy, but with rabbanon it still applies. Now, you could say, well, so what if it applies with rabbanon? It's Tzar Balei Chaim deraisa should override that. Yeah, but there's a way to take care of the Sar Malachayim without transgressing on this, because you could get him to do it for himself. In other words, if there would be no other way, yeah, fine. Sar Malachayim is override. 1 second. But if there is another way, then we prefer the other way. What's the other way? Tell the guy that he can keep the milk. Or tell the guy it's yours for now. After Shabbos, we'll make an arrangement. And then after Shabbos, you buy it back from him. And of course, you don't pay him the full price because you don't have to. That's the point. That's a total loss for you. You pay him a small amount. And that way, he's doing it for himself. Well, the point is that why is he doing it? Well, what do you mean for himself? He's getting paid. That's his payment. You don't pay him besides that.
He wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have worked so hard, however long it took him.
Well, why did he do it? Well, why did he do it? Oh, well, then that's just your not being nice. You should be nice. Well, just because it's not nice to take advantage of the poor guy. He doesn't have to sell it to you. What do you mean? $1? No, I'm keeping it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you have to give him something that he's going to be willing to sell it for you. Now, if he doesn't want to sell it except for the full price, you won't hire him again, obviously, because the whole thing is a harama and he's not playing the game. But yeah, I mean, if it's not going to be worth it for him, he's not going to do it. Yeah.
How is he allowed to buy it back the milk after Shabbos? You don't get for sure the way we go mix, add more milk into it, or mix it up with something.
I mean, practically. I mean, that's a shaila. That's a shaila. I mean, we have halachas about kosher food having to have a seal, 1 seal, 2 seals. So, I mean, Lamaisa, he doesn't discuss that here because that's not the topic of discussion. But in practice, yeah, but I'm saying in practice, this is something the guy would not take to his possession. This is something the guy would leave in your possession. Officially, it belongs to him, right? Officially. Lamaisa is putting it in your refrigerator. Tell him, you know what? You want to keep your milk in my fridge? Go ahead. Be my guest. You know what I'm saying? That's Lamaisa. This is another way of getting the goy to milk your milk from your cow, put it in your fridge, and so on. It's harama, but it's Sar. So I'm saying they allowed this whole trick. I mean, technically it is kablanas, because technically it is his, and technically you're buying it back from him, and so on and so forth. But I don't think he's taking it to his rishus. I mean, what would the point be? He knows you're going to buy it back from him. You know, and he knows. So what's the point of schlepping it to his fridge and back and forth? Yeah, why not? Leave it in my fridge. Be my guest. I don't know if you could say the word buy, but you could say, we'll work it out after Shabbos. I need it. I need it back. If you don't mind, I would like to get it back from you. Let's talk after Shabbos and make an arrangement. You know what I'm saying? There's some kind of remez like that.
Can you make it to go to waste?
So Lamaisa, that's a big financial loss, and they don't make you do that. But if there's no choice, then yes, that's what the post is going to say. Meaning to say, if there is no goy, there's a goy, you can do it. You can do it even. If there is no choice, because there is no goy, you can do it even. Why? Because there's no mufarik. Ibud means for destruction. If you milk it onto the ground, or for that matter, into a container that has bleach in it, anything that ruins it. So you basically, instead of removing food from the animal, you've removed something useless from the animal. So nothing. It's like nothing. It has no status. So that's not malacha. And for the purpose of Sar Balachayim, that's allowed completely. And a woman can do that too, for that matter. A woman who's engorged can pump milk from herself in such a way either it goes directly down the drain, or sometimes it's like attached to a bottle, so you have to put bleach in the bottle. So it gets ruined. Maybe bleach is muktzah, maybe dish soap, whatever. Something that ruins it. I'm not talking about electric pumps. I'm talking about a hand pump.
What would be the difference?
Because electric, you're doing it yourself. I mean, you're using electricity.
No, it's on a timer.
It's on a timer, maybe.
I think it has to.
Question here.
So just pump on Shabbos.
To pump breast milk on Shabbos is it a rise? To do it with a timer, I mean, it's still innocent. I mean, she has to put it on herself. She's not walking around with it. She's still doing something.
I'm trying to remember what it looks like, just to be able to, you're touching on something that's like, what's that? What we have to touch again? All right, take those straps, right?
I don't think it's straps.
Strap them around. Has to strap around something.
No, she holds it. She holds it in place. She holds it in place.
Those straps.
Straps?
The electric one or the hand?
I've never seen that.
Handhelds.
No, he's talking about the electric ones.
The electric one is a.
It's a machine, but it attaches to something that she puts on her breast.
Tube, and then there's a thing that catches it, like a funnel.
I don't think it's a strap. I think she holds it.
You can actually have hands-free ones that are strapped.
Sorry?
You can get hands-free ones that have straps.
Okay. Yossi says you can get hands-free ones that have straps. Okay. Either way, what's the difference? What's the difference?
No,
That's what it is. Oh, she's going to walk around strapped with Shabbos. She's going to walk. She's going to walk strapped with this thing on her.
As I was saying, walk. It's attached to the outlet right next to her bed.
Yeah.
And she takes the things.
Yeah.
While she's using it. At night, not a whole day. So 10 minutes.
Yeah. She starts using the thing that turned on at 10 p.m. She knows her Suda ends at 9:30. 10, she's going to need to pump.
Well, if she puts it on when it's already on, that's mamash malach. It's like saying, well, the lawnmower was already on. I'm just going to use it to mow the lawn. Big deal.
Oh, no. I'm talking about she's doing it.
Oh, the ibud?
Okay, you're saying not ibud. That's even better. Let's talk about now.
No, I'm not. That's us. That's us.
That's
like using a lawnmower.
She straps it on beforehand. And she might, if the thing turns on at 10 o'clock, she strapped it at 9:55.
That's not practical.
Of course.
She's going to walk around strapped from the beginning of Shabbos.
Why walk around? She's going to
No, 5 minutes before it turns on, she's going to be in the right place.
Oh, before it turns on, so that's like a grumble. That's fine,
but then a woman will be able to do something.
No.
Oh, that's a grumble meeting. It's awesome.
Yeah. To do it leibud, I don't see why not. There's no malacha happening.
That was my question.
Yeah, there's no malacha happening. It's a lot of effort, all for ibud.
I saw everybody. Well, sometimes you don't have a handheld. I saw everybody says that you could put a pot of soup, plata, as a timer. Plata hasn't turned on yet, and it's a grow. So I'm thinking maybe over here is that, or over there.
I don't know. Maybe there's a tziruf that it's a mishlach bishul, according to some.
Right. Over here it's a cool down.
Yeah. I have to see that, so I can't really comment until I do. I don't know. Okay. We continue and we say, Lamed.
Question.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question back on the Sar Balei Chayim. If an animal gets injured on Shabbos, can you ask a goy to take it to the vet? Because that would be Sar Balei Chayim for an animal.
That's an interesting shaila. I think so. Can you tell a goy to take an injured animal to the vet because it's in pain? I think so. I mean, we see here the concept of Sar Balei Chayim.
And it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But does it have to be his? Does it have to be his animal? Do you have to give him the animal, or it can still be your animal and just ask him to do that?
Doesn't have to be his animal.
Well, over here we see it has to be.
No, the point is that it has to be kablanos. Not that it has to be his animal.
They're both kablanos. Where's he coming here? I'm just asking him to do you a favor. Completely on.
Is the guy a worker from the Jew?
No, it could be my next door neighbor, somebody like that. No, I mean, it's not like any kind of worker.
The question is, I mean, over here, if you don't Over here, if you don't give him a kamlana situation, then he's clearly doing it for you. Because
You say that he could technically walk my dog to the vet. You can pick him up and walk him to the vet. I never asked him to drive.
that's where the vet is.
What?
That's where the vet is. I mean, maybe if he's close, if he's walking distance, maybe you could say that. I don't know. Depends on the situation. The thing is, I don't know. See, over here, if you don't make a kablanos, so it's clear that he's giving you something. He's doing it for you because he's milking your milk, and you get the milk afterwards. You know what I'm saying? You benefit from the milk. You drink the milk. It's your milk. Over there, when he's taking the dog to the vet, I mean, what's your benefit? You have a dog, but is that like a benefit? It's not like milk where you get something. You get the companionship. I don't know if that's the halachic getter of working for you. I don't know. I'm not sure. Certainly, for example, if it's not your dog, it's not your dog. There's a dog, Nebuch, suffering. You say to your neighbor, can you please take this dog to the vet? Why not? I'm saying this, you're not benefiting from it at all. So here, I don't know, even though it's your dog, but it's not the same benefit as you get from actual milk, which you can sell. No, that's Amirah.
Meaning over here, you're just telling him to go to the vet and tell you
No, there's two components. There's Amirah LeNochri, which is also because of a daber davar. You're talking about malacha, forbidden malacha on Shabbos. And then there's the fact that you're benefiting, which makes him like your shliach, like he's doing it for you. So the Amirah component, the Alter Rebbe said, is permitted because of Tzar Balei Chayim. But we want to minimize the Isurim as much as possible, at least take away the Hana, make it that he's doing it for himself. You understand? But the Amirah component, you have to do, I mean, because of Tzar Balei Chayim, not that it's allowed in normal situations, but because of Tzar Balei Chayim, we're going to permit that.
So we're here, really not getting hana.
Yeah.
And then they're allowed.
Right.
Tell them to do this, you're not getting hana.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it is Hana to own a pet. I don't know. That's
It
I
gives him
don't.
Hana. My dog is not like that.
No, we said if it was someone else, if it was a straight
Right.
dog.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
You're allowed to do it directly from the cow.
So we're only permitting, in the case of Amirah LeNochri, in the case of Tzar Balei Chayim, we can really, you're saying we can throw out the whole benefit thing.
Amirah LeNochri is, in the case of Tzar Balei Chayim, is allowed, but we have to minimize the Isser as much as possible. In answer to your question, to drink directly from a cow is an Isser d'Rabbanan because you are still doing mefarik. It's going into your body. You're drinking it. It's not becoming oichel. You're drinking it. So the only thing is, it's a klach hayad. It's not a normal thing for a
I'm
person.
reducing the pain from the cow. Helping the cow.
Yeah, but they didn't allow that.
Yeah.
So how come?
Yeah, one second. They allowed Amirah LeNochri because the malach is done by a goy, even though it's listed Rabbanan. But they normally don't allow an Isser Shvus for a person to do it himself. Now, in the case of Tzar Balei Chayim, maybe if there would be no other choice, maybe it would be allowed, but there are other choices. You could do it onto the ground where there is no Isser at all. It's not mefarik at all. It's not an Isser. So doing it to drink would not be allowed.
So we allowed to a baby, you can give him formula. Sit with the product. Wow.
The baby's doing it. Baby's doing it. Baby's allowed to do it. So what? So what? The baby's not b'chlal not in the getter of chinuch. What?
Baby's gonna die if you don't feed him.
No, not gonna die. I mean, it's
The
not
baby in the bottle.
which bottle?
The bottle that would squeeze.
The woman is doing it, not the baby. What do you mean?
She's putting on the
Yeah,
electric pump.
the baby's not doing it, then the person's doing it. Okay, so if the baby is already Hagia Lechinuch, then you're in trouble. Okay. Lamed Ramamurim, Kshamal LeNochri Lachlaiv, Lamed, exactly. When do we say this? When you told him to milk. If the guy comes along and does it on his own, you can get it for free. You don't have to buy it from him.
Doing on his own because he's been trained this way, or just
No, maybe last week you asked him to, and this week he figures, hey, I know he wants me to do it. I may as well. Why not?
That's allowed.
Let's see. You don't have to pay him even a small amount. I mean, he may not do it the next week, but technically you don't have to pay him. Why? Any guy who does it on his own certainly intends to get a favor back from the Jew, like when the situation base, and it's like he's doing it for himself. Meaning to say, he came along and did it on his own. He expects a favor back from him, there's no question about it. So you don't have to pay him, because whatever favor you'll owe him. Normally this is not allowed. Normally we don't allow a guy to do something with your kalim, even if you don't ask him, because the fact that he's using your kalim and you don't object makes it clear that you want him to do it, because you wouldn't do it with your kalim otherwise. But that's subject of machlekes amongst Rishonim and so on. And in the case of Sarah L'chaim, they didn't decree. That's what it is. Even though you could say, well, just make him buy it, and that way you're going out of the problem. No. In the case where he did it on his own, they weren't machmer to make you buy it, because they consider that some Rishonim are not strict when a guy comes to do it on his own, even when he's using your kalim. So they are more makel in that case. Yes.
you mentioned that instead of reaching the news directly, you can
Do it ibud.
you have to do it shinui, because it's not the rice if you do it in
No, it's not deraisa.
the rice.
That's if you're taking oichel out, but if it's going to ibud, then nothing's coming out. It's like you're taking nothing out of. No. No shinui. וכל זה בנוכרי למד א' שאינו יעבדו, אבל עבדו שחוסר סכום ללשון ולשנסיים, אין צורך להיכנס מהם החולוב, אף אם עבר למלאכתו בשבס. שמסכבנו במלאכתו, לתרוס כדי שקבלו כל סכום סביב שנוסם, שנסתכרו בתחילת עסקין נסגרו, שכשנסגרו בתחילת עסקין נסגרו שיחלבו בכל עץ שצריך לאכלו.
It says it's the Hebrew that in a way that the Jew cannot eat it, or the Jew cannot enjoy it also.
Like what?
Let's say if you're going to knock it into a packet that over there like half tarif, it's going to mix up, you cannot drink it. But you could after Shabbos sell it to a goy.
That's not labeled. That's not labeled. That's not labeled. Labeled means ruined, nothing, worthless. Bleach, soap, the ground, or a kli mos, like a filthy keli that nobody would drink from. That's what it is. Okay, Lamed Aleph is another chiddush. You have a worker. The worker does all kinds of things for you. The worker, when he does those things for you, is really kind of doing it for himself. Even though, I mean, he's doing it for you, but he gets paid. So he's doing it to do his job. Part of his job. He wants to finish his job, finish his work. So, I'm sorry? Schir Shana, Schir Chaydesh. He hired him for the year. He's your guy. Whatever it is. He's your gopher. He does whatever you need to get done. So there is the component of the fact that he is working for himself in terms of him getting a payment at the end of the year, month, or whatever it is. Now, again, this is not, we don't normally allow a worker to do work for you and say, well, he's doing it for himself because he's getting paid and so on. On the contrary, we say he's not a kablan. Kablan means he's only responsible for a certain thing, and he gets paid for that whenever he does it on his own time or whatever. But not a person who is hired to do whatever you needed to do. Nevertheless, when it comes to this issue of milking a cow, where you have the aspect of Tzar B'Lechaim, once again, we're makel, and we say it's enough that he gets, the fact that he's getting paid at the end is enough to make it considered like he's doing it for himself, even though it normally is not allowed. I want to read note 110. He explains it better. The Alter Rebbe is relying on the distinction he explained in Kuntres Achron, and that's what he explains. Although generally a servant employed for an entire year is prohibited from performing forbidden tasks for the benefit of his Jewish employer, in this instance, an exception is made, leniency is granted in consideration of the suffering of the animal. So it's not a normal heter that we give to let a goy that's your worker do work that he does on his own, so to speak. It's not normally allowed, but for a Tzar B'Lechaim situation, we allow it without having to buy it back from him. Lamed Beis, v'chol zeh lechel hachol of the Motzei Shabbos. This is all to drink the milk on Motzei Shabbos. All of these are there, whether it's the worker, or it's the guy that you didn't have to say did it on his own, or it's the guy that you specifically told him, but you're going to buy it back from him. Those three options only will allow you to buy it back from a guy that you ask, a guy that does it on his own, then you don't have to buy it back, you can just get it for free, or your worker. This is all to drink it after Shabbos. On Shabbos itself, it's also even to move it.
For you or for the other guys?
For you.
To move it.
To move it, it's muktzah. Even if he did it on his own. Listen to this. LeNochri. The goy milked his cow. There was no isser done whatsoever. You were watching. It's Chalav Yisrael. So why can't I have some with my coffee? No. Chachamim made a decree on liquids that flowed out of fruits on their own, whether on their own or through a goy, either way, to make them from until Motzei Shabbos, for the reasons that will be explained there. Basically, the reason that's explained there is that if you were allowed to drink the liquids that came out of fruit on its own, you might squeeze those fruit.
But we also learned that if it's already preserved before Shabbos, and doing Shabbos just more, and now you're going to mix up, you produce it.
Yeah, that's correct.
So why you cannot apply to
what?
With the milk?
What?
It's already like Zav before Shabbos.
Zav. It's not Zav. The goy is milking it. If the goy took milk from before and milked it into it. I mean, we're going to discuss later another issue, but as far as this issue is concerned, it wouldn't be us. There's another issue we're going to come to in a minute, but as far as this issue, yeah. I mean, but that's if he took milk from before and he milked into it.
So if you milk from before and now I'm doing Shabbos, you're adding more into the same bucket.
We said over there it's mutter.
But it has to be Pulamit Mashefet. That have to be start doing it before and continue doing it into Shabbos.
Sorry. We said over there was mutter. I don't remember if we said it had to be bought in B'shishim or not. 1 second.
What, the Mashke? The Perot?
Yeah.
I think we mentioned nothing about the B'shishim.
Didn't have to be?
I think we mentioned nothing there to be bottom. Just if it was start from before and continue.
321.
This is what I recall.
320. Shem Chaf. מה שזה בשעת הנדסה, אנחנו עושים על הערב, זה יש שם יסוד. מסבטל בשישים, שומע? שין חוף דלת, מסבטל בשישים.
שמחה ד'?
No, סימן שין חוף סביב דלת.
סביב ד'.
It has to be bottle b'shishim. Has to be bottle b'shishim. Okay.
Can we move the air with the shoe?
Yeah. Move mukta with the shino, yeah. Okay. We continue and we say.
I just have a question about moving these things. Are you allowed to move these with a shinoi, or if you need the place,
Yeah.
or is that something you can't move at all?
Not because you need the place. You can move with the shinoi. But needing the place is not enough of a reason to move it because it's a higher level muktzah. But you can move it with shinoi, yeah. Okay, my friends. Okay, we're talking about achila. Now, the Issur Rabbanan they made was that you're not allowed to drink it. If you would drink it, you might squeeze it, you might milk it. But once it's also ba'achila, now that it's also to drink, it becomes muktzah to move either. Because once it's also to eat or to drink, it has no use. It's a useless liquid on Shabbos. Like by the way, this is the same thing with any treif item. No, I take it back. Because a treif item is fit to feed to a dog. But here, you're not going to feed it to your dog because you want it after Shabbos for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's true of any item that is also on Shabbos, but will be mutter after Shabbos. Because you're not going to waste it and feed it to a dog. So it's basically forbidden with no use at all on Shabbos. So that's why it's muktzah. If it's going to be mutter for you later. If it's something that's also forever, then you may as well feed it to your dog. So it's dog food. It's not muktzah. But if it's something that will be mutter later, so then why would you waste it on your dog? So then it's going to be muktzah. Because you have no use for it.
Raw potatoes. Your dog not going to eat raw potatoes.
Right. That's not because of an Issur. That's because it's simply not edible. Yeah, something that's not edible is not is muktzah. Flour, for example. Yeah, anything that's not edible is muktzah. Raw rice or anything like that.
If the milk was left out of the fridge, can be handled normally because it's going to be financial loss and be put back in the fridge.
Actually, I did see in the Dirshu, which I didn't get a chance to look up his source and understand it properly. I saw in the Dirshu that Shlomo Zalman says, yeah, you're allowed to. For a case of a hefsed meruba, he allows you to move the muktzah and put it in the fridge. It's a big chiddush.
What's a hefsed meruba here?
It's not $10. You go to this kibbutzim with those rows of cows. I mean, it's a lot of money there. A lot of money. I went to Kibbutz Lavi once. And they explained to me how they milk the cows on Shabbos. And I must say I was not very impressed. I was not very impressed. Because they have a combination of problems. Not combination. They have a problem that they're very Zionist. I mean, it's nice to be Zionist, in terms of the Jewish state and all that, but they don't want to use Arab workers. No Arab workers. So therefore, they don't use any of these heterim here. The right way to do it halachically, without, extra heterim, even though this is also out there, but it's an established heter. Right? The way to do would be to have non-Jewish workers. That's another question, but whatever. So non-Jewish workers just do the whole thing normally, and then however you do it, either they're your workers, so you don't have to pay them, or you pay, you buy it back, whatever. They don't want to do that. So, and to do the whole thing le'ibud is like a huge waste. So what they do is they have it on a timer, and then they attach it to the cow. And the way it's set up, the system is set up that the first few drops go le'ibud, like there's a valve that sends it le'ibud, and then the valve switches and it goes into regular vats, regular system. So they're
What does ibud mean?
Ibud means it gets ruined, it goes wasted. So I mean, this wasn't the guy giving the guide, the tour wasn't giving a halachic lecture. He was saying that's the heter they got. So I'm imagining the heter is that since the first few drops go to ibud, after that it's like a grama. And they got a heter to do grama, even though it's a malacha d'oraisa, the farik, to do grama because of the hefsed merubah. That's what I imagine their heter is. But like I said, I would be happier if they did it with a guy, all politics aside, because that's a more clear heter. It's always better to do a malacha when necessary. With the heter, it's always better to do the malacha of Amirah LeNochri than a malacha that you do yourself. Okay.
They should get religious Zionist Christians to do it.
Those are hard to come by.
I thought you had lots of them in Israel. Or they only come to visit.
You always have these.
They come to visit. I don't know how many of them actually live there.
They should run a program for people from the Bible Belt, like a 3-week course for young Zionist Christians who come milk our cows.
I don't know. Would be nice. What do you want to say, Daniel?
Nothing. Never mind.
Okay. Here's the next chiddush, my friends. We're continuing in Lamed Beis. Yeah. Even if you milked it into food, so it doesn't have the din of a liquid. It's not included in the decree of mashkin shesav. That's what it says by you, Lamed Gimel. Oh, you're right. The next one with me is Lamed Dalet. It's missing the Lamed Gimel. It should be Lamed Gimel. That's where I'm up to. By me, it doesn't say. What does it say by you? I don't know. I don't have it either. I don't know what it is. Okay, so here's the thing. If you milk it into food, so it shouldn't be mashka because it's not mashka. We already finished saying it has the din of food, not drinks. So it shouldn't be forbidden because of mashka sabah. Afal nevertheless. Also at ha'erev. It's forbidden till the evening. Afal lo nechla miyad b'chnis Shabbos. Sorry, im lo nechla miyad b'chnis Shabbos. El lachas man binyan she'efshe shorei v'cholav shebedat hu noiled shem b'Shabbos. Shoyse cholav shem b'Shabbos el-muktzeh mipnei shehu ma'aseh chodesh on b'Shabbos. Shedam nekras cholav. Yeah. Listen carefully. So the cow produces milk from its blood. Dam nekar v'nasachal. That's what the Gemara says. And that's also scientifically the way it works. The blood is what becomes milk. The body processes it in the mammary glands. There's a lot of blood in the udder and whatever, and it processes it. It turns it into milk. When Shabbos came in, that milk was blood. On Shabbos, depending on when you milked it, actually, if you milked it in the very beginning of Shabbos, it was probably there already, or at least the majority of it was there already. The rest would be bottle in it. But if you milked it later on, so then you can assume that a majority of it was created on Shabbos. It went from being blood to being milk on Shabbos. That is what we call noilad. And therefore it's muktzah as noilad. Even though it's not mashkan shazavu, it's still noilad. Now we're going to learn Amirah Hashem in not so long, when we learn the laws of muktzah, that it's a machlekes if noilad is also on Shabbos, and the main halacha is that noilad is mutter on Shabbos. Why are you looking at me funny? Noilad is mutter on Shabbos. Mutter on Shabbos. Beit Shalom is a different reason. Why? Because of a chana derabba. Chana derabba. Because no, it's a special chana that it's every egg that is born is prepared the previous day, and if the previous day would be Shabbos before Yontif, or Yontif before Shabbos, then it would be Aser, because Shabbos can't prepare for Yontif, and Yontif can't prepare for Shabbos. So as a gzeira against that situation, they said every time an egg is born on Shabbos and Yontif, always make it Aser because of that one situation. I mean, that there's different opinions in Gemara.
Another example of noilad?
Example of noilad that we learn in Siman Shin Ches in Muktzah, where it is actually mutter, is if something breaks in such a way that it's no longer fit for its original use, but it's fit for a different use. So, for example, exactly, you have a keli that used to be a container, and now it broke. It doesn't hold anything anymore, but you could use it for something else. In those days, they didn't throw things out willy-nilly. They always recycled. So you can't use it as a keli. You could use it as a cover of a different keli, or as something to play with, or something to, like a tray or something. Whatever plant, I don't know if a plant is going to make it a keli. It has to be something that's function, that you use it for, not that you just keep it in one place. So that is noilad, which would be aser according to Rabbi Yehuda. We pass like Rabbi Shimon that it's mutter. Sorry. I think the Gemara discusses it. I think the Gemara discusses rain. The Gemara discusses rain. Yeah, you talking about snow that snows on Yontif, on Shabbos. I think the Gemara discusses rain. I think the Gemara discusses rain. I think the Gemara says that rain is already in the clouds.
So I can drink it, I put a cup outside and drink.
I'm pretty sure the Gemara says that. I'm pretty sure the Gemara says that it's considered mivla be'avim, something like that. You're asking about the snow. I mean, the snow is water in the clouds. So, is that considered noilad just because it went from water to snow? I don't think so. Yeah, you didn't make it. It was made. It was made by Hashem. It's not noilad. Not a new thing. It's just. Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think so. I don't know if I learned that ever clearly, but I don't think so. Why is it muktzah? Why is it not muktzah?
The snow?
Yeah. Why? Did we learn that?
You let a shovel snow when you drive out Shabbos? Halfway from the door to the sidewalk?
I don't think so. I think that's like yibui karka, like fixing the ground. I think that's like yibui karka. But I don't think so.
You let to move it with your hands?
You can't make a path. Let's put it that way. Making a path is yibui karka. Can you pick up a little bit of snow in a way that doesn't make the ground look nicer? I don't see why not.
I always thought these things were all on this house.
I don't think so.
Can he pick up the snow and put it on like in a fruit to keep the fruit cold?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Okay, my friends. So that's the question. Why are we talking about Noilad here? If Noilad is mutter on Shabbos, Alter Rebbe says. Before we get to that, even though you expected that the cow would produce milk on Shabbos, so you say it shouldn't be muktzah because I was planning on it. Sometimes muktzah is in your head. You know what I'm saying? If you have fruits that are drying, so you weren't planning to eat them because you put them out to dry, it's muktzah. But if you had in your mind, no, I'm going to eat it anyway, it's not muktzah. Right? And same thing with birds and yantif. You weren't planning to eat them. If you decided before Shabbos you're going to eat these birds, they become not muktzah because you designated them. I mean, there's different situations, but we have that concept that something is perhaps muktzah until you decide before Shabbos or yantif that you're going to use it. So here you decided. However, the other it doesn't help because it didn't exist. You decided, but on what? You decided that something that doesn't exist is not muktzah. It doesn't exist yet. You can't decide about it. The doima. The shana the Shabbos shemuter. It's not like other noiled on Shabbos, which is mutter, because other noiled existed before Shabbos, except that it changed. So when it changed from being one type of use to a different type of use, we say that kind of noiled, we don't hold it. But if it goes from being non-existent to being existent on Shabbos, or from being blood to being milk, that's like a new thing, that is noiled. Okay, now we're going to apply it back to Yantif. I think we discussed Yantif, milking cousin Yantif. Here goes. שהתיר ביום טוב לך נוסח אוכלן, ובני שכיוון שבהם מוריע להאכילה ביום טוב עם החול שבא שמה יועץ הישך לו ואיפה גם החול שנותנת בו ביום טוב, בני שטוב לב ובד לסלה, אם כן, גם כשהנח למנה מחיה, אין עשם שם, בני שכאוכל לפעמים האוכל, שהוא עם גוף הבהמה הם כמו דבר אחד, שניהם תעש האוכל עליהם, וזה כאוכל שני פעמים האוכל, ותרס נראה לו, אף על פי שהוא מייסר חודש, ובמשך גם שם, שאין בהם מוריע להאכילה, האוכל שנאכל מן הניקו נולד גומר, שנולד באוילם בשבס. A very interesting point. Listen carefully. And Yantav, the milk that you milk into a bowl of cereal is mutter. Why don't you say it's noiled? No, it's not noiled. Because on Yantav, the animal is considered food. And therefore, when Yantav came in, the entire animal was food. The truth is the blood is not technically food because you can't eat blood, but it's part of the animal. So it's still included in the category of food. Then on Shabbos, on Yom Tov, it changed from being blood to being milk, which is also food. Now, to milk it into an empty keli, transferring it to mashkin from oichal is a problem of mefarik. Now, why can you do it anyway? Because oichal nefesh is a whole other question. You're allowed to do certain malachas to be able to eat. So why not this? That's another question. But in terms of if you're doing it into food, so it's not mefarik, and it's not noiled. Not mefarik because you're doing food into food. It's not noiled because it's oichal me oichal. It's food from food. It didn't really change. Nothing changed about it. On Shabbos, when a cow is not edible, so we say it went from blood, something not edible, to being milk, which is something edible. We don't consider, well, the animal's food. The animal's not food, practically speaking, on Shabbos. The mice, even though in theory it is, but in practice it's not. But on Yom Tov, when it is actually edible, we consider the milk to just be part of an edible item. Therefore, it's not noiled. All right. Any questions from around the globe? No.
Presumably, honey is similar.
You mean if the bees produce honey on Shabbos?
Yeah, it would be identical to this. So it would be muktzah.
Right, exactly. Besides the fact that you can't take it out of the hive on Shabbos for other reasons, like we discussed. can't. That's also mafarik to take it out of the hive. But in addition to that, it would be muktzah. So even if it dripped out on its own, that's correct.
What's to do with an egg?
An egg that is born on Yontif is muktzah. It's considered noiled, but there's a certain reason for it. First of all, noiled, we're more strict with noiled in general on Yontif, more than Shabbos. But that's another point. But also, there was a special decree against eggs born on Shabbos and Yontif, because an egg is prepared in the animal on the previous day, and when a Shabbos would come right after Yontif or vice versa, then it would turn out that the Shabbos prepared that egg for the Yontif, or vice versa. And that's not allowed. Can't have Shabbos preparing for Yontif, or Yontif preparing for Shabbos. So because of that case, the Chachamim forbade all eggs born on any Shabbos Yontif in order to protect from using the egg in that case. Special degree. Okay. איפה זה? Because Moshe, what chilek? Chilek hey siman chav beis.
We're in Shin Hey, and
we're not finishing Shin Hey. We're doing selected Simanim.
This is not the end of the block.
No, we have to do sections of Shin Vav, sections of Shin Zayin, and then most of Shin Chav Dalet, actually. Chaim, which Simon?
Yeah.
What's Lamed Zayin? What? Ois Lamed Zayin? Oh, yeah, Ois. Yeah, he has a bunch of little pieces here. Avi Muktzah Davi Nolad. Geshem Inara listed in a Geshem. He doesn't bring any source. I mean, I'm nobody to argue on Moshe, but it's very strange. I don't know. Very strange. Okay, let's continue. We continue with Lamed Dalet. Agvina shoyis shvachos b'Shabbos. Echolav shel Yisrael. The Moses b'Beis Yisrael. B'Jesh Matzon shel B'Nas Yisrael. Shevavade meskav nois l'tevas atzmel l'psachem b'nei Yisok mishbosim shin Dalet shin. Alvin tzarich l'mchas b'yod l'mar sa'ayin shem l'shnat ein oises kim t'oises b'veisik l'shbosim nishman beis. As opposed to what we've been learning till now, that you don't have to stop going from milking your cows, and you can even tell them in some cases, when it comes to making cheese out of the milk, the Alter Rebbe Paskins, different than the Machaber, by the way, that you are not allowed to let them do it because they are clearly doing it for you. They're using your milk in your property to make cheese for you. So therefore you have to stop them, even if you didn't tell them to do it. Now, all of the Heterim we gave till now, There's no Tsar Balei no Hefsed Meruba. They can wait until Sunday. You don't have to make cheese today. So therefore we apply the regular rules that if a guy comes, even on his own, to do something for you with your kalim, you have to stop him. Same rule applies here. Now that's interesting, the Machaber doesn't say that. Machaber says that if the Shvachas make cheese on their own from Jewish milk, you don't have to stop them because you didn't tell them to do so. But the Mishnah Berurah brings that the Achronim say that the Shulchan Aruch was only talking about if they did it sometimes as an exception to the rule. So if they did it already, you can benefit, but not that you're allowed to let them do it on a regular basis. So that's what it is.
And you said the Mechaber holds differently on this?
The Machaber seems to hold differently because he says in Shin Hey Chaf Aleph that cheeses that are made by maids on their own are allowed because you didn't tell them to do it. But the Mishnah Berurah says that even the Machaber doesn't mean that you can allow them to do it on a regular basis. It just means if they did it already, you can benefit.
This is talking about a soft cheese made with something like lemon juice, right?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to a cheese made with a rennet-style thing that needs to be made by a Jew generally.
Has to be made by a Jew or supervised by a Jew?
I know that when I was working there, I had to actually physically pour the rennet in, but I don't know. Maybe it just has to be supervised. I guess being supervised is okay.
As far as I know, being supervised is okay. As far as I know. As far as I know. As he's asking about if the goyim are allowed to actually make cheese, or if the Jew has to be the one making cheese. As far as I know, the Jew just has to supervise. I don't think he has to be the one physically making it.
If you just give him the kosher milk, there's no other ingredients in the same place.
You have to watch it. You have to watch it.
Holy Israel is not us making the cheese.
Sorry?
Holy Israel is us making the cheese, it's us watching the cheese. Making sure there's not other cheese being brought, right? Holy Israel, the Jew has to be a part of the.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's enough for him to be there.
Plus, Ritual Israel for started.
Right, for Ashkenazim too, but we hold you, it's enough to light the fire, enough to put it on the fire. Okay, my friends, we are moving on to 306.
So very calculated.
I apologize for all the jumping around.
That must mean a very good purpose.
Well, it's Amirah LeNochri is very spread out. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to do the whole Dibor because Dibor in general is about Jews, it's not about Goyim. But I'm going to do one Sif in the Alter Rebbe. There's no corresponding Sif in the Machaber, so I'm just going to do the Alter Rebbe. Sif Hey.
Hey?
Yeah. This includes a very important piece of information that I don't think we learned inside till now, though I did mention it. Amirah LeNochri las b'Shabbos yishvus b'divrei seifrim afal pi she'amar lekoydem haShabbos. Amirah LeNochri tell a non-Jew to work on Shabbos is forbidden d'Rabbanan, even if you tell him before Shabbos. Because when you tell him before Shabbos and he does it on Shabbos, he's still working for you, even though you didn't do the Amirah on Shabbos. Now, if you tell him to do it, or a fellow Jew for that matter, that he should do work for you tomorrow, not on Shabbos, no shlichus. You see a guy, you tell him, tomorrow I want you to come and do some work in my backyard. You see the gardener, He's working at your neighbors. He says, tomorrow, come to me tomorrow.
It's Friday when you tell him?
No, on Shabbos.
Oh.
You're telling him on Shabbos to come tomorrow. Big deal. He's going to do the work on Sunday, and on Sunday he's allowed to, and you're allowed to. What's the problem? Nevertheless, it's also because you're taking care of your own affairs. You cannot talk about forbidden malacha on Shabbos, whether to a Jew or to a non-Jew. You can't tell your Jewish neighbor, let's work in the garden together tomorrow, because that's mitzvah. In Hefesh Bein Israel is in tzorchim mitzvah. Shas las malacha al yidei LeNochri and for the tzorch mitzvah. Al pi shalom lekan Shabbos v'adin l'shar kol davar shemishum shvus le'etir tzorch mitzvah. Adam kan shvus t'shvus k'masher yispar sham. The only difference is that one of these isurim is permissible for the case of a mitzvah, and the other one isn't. The tzoi chavtzacha is permissible for a mitzvah. You're allowed to talk on Shabbos about forbidden activities if it's for a mitzvah. You're allowed to talk about marrying off a chasa, a kala, even the details, the hall and whatever, monetary details. I mean, you can't make any actual kinyanim or stuff like that, but you can talk about details if it's necessary. Obviously, if there's no need for it, you don't. But if it's necessary for whatever reason, talk about it on Shabbos, you're allowed to. Because chafatzecha asur, your private affairs are forbidden. Chavtze shamayim mutarim, things that are heavenly affairs are permissible. So that's about that's about talking about work. When it comes to Amirah LeNochri and a guy working for you, Hilchos and so on. So there there's no blanket permissibility given for a mitzvah, unless it's a shvus t'shvus. It's a shvus t'shvus we discussed, that you can have a guy do something that's forbidden for a Jew by rabbinically. But if it's a Torah prohibition, we said not. Although we did say last week, the Itter allows it, and the Rama brings him down, but Lamaisa, the Achainim say not to rely on him, unless it's a mitzvah derabit, a mitzvah that is for the public. Other than that, we follow the opinion that you cannot do Amirah LeNochri regular just for a mitzvah.
So you can ask a Jewish person to shecht an animal tomorrow for a korban, say. You can ask a non-Jewish person to do something on Sunday if it's for the benefit of an entire community, even if it's deraisa. Otherwise, you can only do it if it's derabanan, if it's for a personal mitzvah. Is that right?
One more time. If you ask him to do a mitzvah, yes. When you say communal need, I don't know if that's a mitzvah. Is that automatically a mitzvah?
No, sorry. If there's a Hachnasa Sefer Torah tomorrow, you can ask him to drive the van.
Yeah, correct.
If it's for a bris, you can't ask him to drive the child because that's personal.
No, bris is a mitzvah. Bris is a mitzvah.
But didn't you say it has to be a communal mitzvah if you're going to ask him to do a deraisa?
On Shabbos, but you're allowed to talk him on Shabbos about Sunday. You mean to
I thought we were saying that you can tell a Jewish person to do a deraisa. I'm confused now. I thought we were saying that we can't tell a non-Jew to do something on Sunday if it's deraisa.
On Sunday, you can tell either a Jew or a non-Jew to do a malacha deraisa if it's for a purpose of a mitzvah.
Okay.
You can tell him on Shabbos, do it on Sunday.
Right.
What do is have a guy do Torah level work for you on Shabbos for the purpose of a mitzvah. You couldn't tell him to drive the baby over on Shabbos.
But you could tell him to do something for communal mitzvah, a deraisa.
A mitzvah derabim, correct.
So an example of that would be.
Well, we said to fix the Eruv, maybe to bring us Torah for a community.
Okay.
Okay, Yosef is going back to 15 minutes ago. I didn't notice this till now. Why don't you say the same thing about an egg? Classic case is an egg born on Yom Tov. I think we answered that an egg is also for its own reasons. because of what's called Hachana de Rabba. Rabba is the one who says this issue of that you can't, Shabbos can't prepare for Yontif, and Yontif can't prepare for Shabbos, and an egg born is prepared on the previous day, a whole thing. So I think that that's why it's different.
Did I tell the boy to take a signature to a certain shul doesn't have it?
Based on the mitzvah de Rabba, you mean?
Based on the
I think yes. I'm pretty sure I saw that. That mitzvah de Rabba would include create some prayer. Just look back to Reish and 12. Inside an area for sure. It's not a chiddush, but I think it's.
Even outside there?
I think so. The truth is carrying in most cases the Rabbanon, or many places can. But let me just see.
Spoon is also there, right?
12 mil is deraisa. 2,000 amos is not.
Oh, really? What's that now?
Yeah. Mitzvah de Rabba 41. So he brings different things. Tefillah, Kriyas HaTorah. Then Moshe says that's Mitzvah de Rabba. Talmud Torah de Rabba. These different examples.
So turn the lights on and show the lights off.
That's an interesting shaila.
What's the other
You
thing?
have to do it there for some, and now you don't have to learn it out in the shul. Being in the shul, it's
Why is other shuls?
what?
There's other shuls.
That's odd. Is
Yeah.
it just me?
No, I'm here too. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Wow. I guess
Either battery ran out or connection.
no. I think
Here
you
we
came
are.
back
He's
on.
back.
Shut off by mistake.
Hello again.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So far, enough, the basic.
No, let's say, for example, a shul comes to you, a guy from the shul comes to you and says, listen, my rabbi is reading the Torah, it's possible. We opened it up, we saw the first pasuk, possible. Now we need to say for Torah. Can you send one? It took me an hour to walk here. You have to resend it.
You have to walk back and know.
Yeah, you have to make them, maybe. You don't have to make them walk, you don't have to make them wait another hour.
There's a leniency that you can completely
There's an opinion.
nothing else.
I don't know the tshuva. There's an opinion that says if there's no other sefer, you can finish it even with brachas. 7 aliyahs. So I think so. Just 7 aliyahs.
If you didn't start,
No, can't start.
if you start.
If you're already in middle and then you discover it, I believe we're saying that on that sheet if that's the only sefer.
Sounds right.
Okay, so my friends, let's finish the sif. Shamloch nasa motzei Shabbos, Shuzman hat shloi lo shel shonim lo b'Shabbos, v'eno merzu el mishum sasa b'Shabbos lo aser hayoyim ezekzeh. Yes, atil tzech mitzvah. You're allowed to tell him to do something on Shabbos after Shabbos when it's only the speech that's aser, if it's for a mitzvah. וכן אכל התחום שאין ישראל משום שמז מסס משבס, דבר 10 יום, אז מה זה יתו צריך מצווה שנה חפציך, שמחה ששמע מתואר. Similarly, you're allowed to tell, you're allowed to yourself walk to the end of the tchum to be close to where you need to be after Shabbos for a mitzvah, because that's a situation that it's chaftzei shemayim. Okay, let's do the machaber at the end of Shin Vav, and then we'll go to the Alter Rebbe. Tes. Also, Lemeleni Yehudi in the Machaber. Also, Lemeleni Yehudi Shelachos Atchum Shabbos Achai Krevi Emes Shevoi Latzpika. You're not allowed to tell. Somebody passed away. Shivav Tes. Somebody passed away. You're not allowed to tell a goy. Do me a favor. His relatives, they live in the nearby town. So go now, so that they'll know to come right after Shabbos, so they'll be able to be here for the funeral. If we don't send you, remember this is before telephones, if we don't send you now, they're not going to find out till Sunday morning. By the time they come, it's going to be Sunday night. They're going to miss the funeral. Can't tell. Because, so they'll miss the funeral. Okay, so, big deal. Here's the chiddush. If the Jew is sick, very sick, and he says, please send for my relatives, I want to see them before I go, then you're allowed to send a goy.
What's the takif le'alma?
Takif le'alma is an expression. It means the very sick. It means the world is difficult for him. It means that he's very sick. He's nearing. Exactly.
But surely they'd be allowed to travel on Shabbos as well if he feels that way.
It's an interesting expression. Yeah, Vadish is an interesting expression. Actually, no. They're not allowed to travel on Shabbos.
Even if it would potentially make him better? Or feel better?
This is the discussion. This is a discussion here, actually, that they have in the Dirshu at some length. So he says, you're allowed to do an Issa D'Rabbanan if the guy asks for his relatives. The guy asks for his relatives, and you're afraid that he's going to become upset if they can't come. Be upset. So you're allowed to be over an Issa D'Rabbanan to get there. Give several examples. He's allowed to walk outside of the Tchum if they're within 12 mil. So it's not an Issa D'Oraisa.
Within 12.
Within 12 mil. The Shalom Meshav says he's allowed to ride on a horse, but he should dress up like a goy. It shouldn't be Marat Zion. I'm just telling you what he says.
Who's allowed to do this? Not the goy? Who's allowed to do it?
A Jew.
Who's allowed to do what? I'm sorry?
To come to his relative who wants him very badly.
Oh, not the goy?
No, he's adding to this.
Who's adding?
The Shalom Meshav. That he can go in a way of the Rabbanan, not in a way of the Oraisa. Riding horse is only the Rabbanan, right? It's only the Rabbanan because maybe you'll break a branch and whip it. But you're not really doing a Deraisa. I mean, the truth is that riding is a separate Machamer. Why is it not Machamer? Oh, because other noises asked me, I forgot. Chai noises asked me. A live person carries himself. That doesn't make a difference. Goy or Jew doesn't make a difference. Chai noises asked me means that he carries himself.
No, but for the Jew, the animal is muktzah in the beginning, so I can ride on him also.
This is a Darabanan. I'm not saying it's mutter. It's for the choyle who's very upset if his relative is not going to come.
So
maybe he's going to be so upset he's going to get worse.
I thought that you're allowed to do malachas on Shabbos. For example, I've heard of cases where a woman is going to give birth, and someone was allowed to get into a car to babysit her children, so that the woman would not be freaked out when she was in labor.
It's not just the woman should not be freaked out. Small children left alone is a
no. It wouldn't be small children left alone. sorry, I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was no question. The children were never going to be left alone.
So what he's going to say here, let me just finish this, what he's saying here, then I'll answer your question. He says, the Kaf HaChaim says you're allowed to ride a train in a similar situation to get to the relative. Now, why are we only allowing in all these situations that the relatives should come in a way that's D'Rabbanan, not the Oraisa? Davis Moshe explains, he does not consider it absolute Pikuach Nefesh. It's not clear that the guy is actually going to be so upset that he's going to go crazy and lose his mind about it.
We'll lose his mind not because.
Yeah, but still, I mean, maybe in theory, maybe he'll commit suicide. I mean, in theory. He'll lose his mind so badly, he'll kill himself. That's theoretical.
So let me ask you,
One second, let me just finish. The point is, if there is an actual chashash that he will actually get worse because his relatives are not coming, then you could be machal Shabbos Midaraisa. You need to say that the presumption is that he's not actually going to die. Where there's a distant possibility that he'll be so upset that it'll affect his health. So for that possibility, first of all, we send the guy to do a deraisa, and we ourselves can even do a d'Rabbanan. But because it's not a really high chances of him actually dying, we don't do a deraisa unless the doctors actually feel that yes, that it could actually affect him in a very negative way. Then yes, then even a deraisa. Yes.
Just let's say you're someone that his parents is overseer, and before Shabbos, if he told that something happened and the doctor doesn't give him too much, if you want to see him, you have to come out. You're allowed to cut the flight?
No. Not a deraisa. That's what we're saying now. Not a deraisa. I have an example.
But the plane doesn't fly special for the Jew.
I'm sorry?
You're traveling out of
the plane anyway going to take off regardless.
Yeah, but there's many malachas you're going to be doing on the way. Traveling out of the Tchum, for example, and driving there, and you land and getting off and driving to the next destination on the plane. I mean, there's so many deraisa situations. But
by the way,
yeah, but it's very, very unlikely you'll succeed in actually doing only drabban. Very unlikely. Sorry?
Riding on the horse, if you're riding on the sheep, let's say backwards, it's helping for the situation.
No. The whole point is you might break off a branch. So because you're walking backwards, you're not going to break off a branch. Okay, so I just have a story which is a good lesson for Rabbanim. And if you'll actually have rabbinic careers, but nevertheless, you should know. So a fellow that I learned with told me when his brother unfortunately was passing away, he was a young man, he was like in his 40s, passing away. And his father called him and said, it was Friday afternoon. He wants to see you. He wants to see you before he passes away, and he's not going to make it. So he called his rabbi, and he didn't ask the shaila. Called the rabbi, he said, listen, I'm going. This is what my father said, I'm going. Packed up his suitcase. He was ready to leave. It was like 40 minutes to candle lighting or something. He said his rabbi showed up. His rabbi said, have a seat, you're not going anywhere. He sat with him, cried with him, counseled him, whatever. Didn't let him leave. I'm just saying, the Rav, everybody's busy Friday afternoon, 5 minutes before candle lighting. But the Rav realized if he just gave him a psak, no, you can't go, he's not going to listen. But he also knew that he respected his Rav enough that if he sits with him, he's not going to ignore him. So he dropped everything and he sat with him. And his brother passed away, Taka, and he wasn't there, Taka, but would it have helped if he was there? Probably not. Brother's passing away. He didn't get to see his brother. Okay, but he wasn't over on the Yisrael of traveling on Shabbos. That's also a zchus for his brother. You know what I'm saying? That he wasn't part of that.
So There are cases that we are allowed, cases that we're not.
Yeah,
What is the?
it's a situational thing. It depends on the situation. If a doctor really feels that he is so upset about not seeing so and so that he could literally take a turn for the worse.
Subjective. I mean, in this case that you mentioned, could be the brother was.
The Rav obviously knew the situation well enough to rule not so. You know what I'm saying? You have to know your customers. Okay, so Yossi, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. The reason I was asking is I remember my wife saying that her father once put her in a taxi and sent her to babysit somewhere on Shabbos.
Right.
And she was saying that it was. I can't remember the specifics, but yeah. So what you've said is that if it's definite that that somebody would be taking a turn for the worse if they were upset by something.
Right, but on the other hand, going into a taxi is not a deraisa anyway.
Yep, you're right. You're right. Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
And it sounds like it's.
No, this is about the good Jew himself doing this. Who not just about to pass away, but might be upset. You know, he is very sick and he might be upset. Yeah. Yeah. He's asking. He's not calling. They don't have phones. He's asking for that person.
No, right. He's
asking for that person. Yeah.
Around him that
Yeah.
needs his
What
brother.
if
Yeah.
what is better to use all the time? Taxi or Uber? Because Uber is going to be like a couple because you know the price is set up in advance. Taxi usually it's by the meter.
There's an app for taxi now also called Curb.
Yeah.
Just the same thing. They just send you a taxi instead.
So price?
The payment is in advance.
I haven't used it, but it seems like it's the same. It's an app. So what's the point of that if you just? Yeah.
Just pay when you get there.
Right. I mean, nowadays everything's.
Yeah. I don't know.
Trying to be done.
I don't think it makes a difference. Taxi or Uber. I can't think of a difference. I mean, it's less. It probably involves less malacha in terms of pressing the Uber rather than calling for the taxi, just in terms of the volume of malacha. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
So
Okay.
this isn't even for some kind. This is just for him not to go nuts.
Right, but that's going to perhaps affect his health and maybe be his life also. Number 10 in the Mechaber. Lahachlif mashkan len Yehudi b'Shabbos mutar im hu malmush. Lahachlif mashkan Yud Shin Vav Yud in the Mechaber. Lahachlif mashkan len Yehudi b'Shabbos mutar im hu malbush v'yotzinu en Yehudi derech malbushei. You're allowed to switch a mashkan for a non-Jew on Shabbos if it's a garment. The goy owes you money. You have a collateral, and he wants to switch the collateral. He wants to give back one and take the other. If it's a garment, so he's not doing a malacha by switching it. You know what I'm saying? He brings you the old one, he didn't do a malacha anyway. But when you give him the new one, if you give him something of yours that he carries out of your Rishos on Shabbos, we said before you can't.
It's his.
It's a mashkin. It's yours.
Oh, you're giving him a lunch.
You're giving him a mashkin. Actually, I got it wrong. You're giving him a mashkin. So you can't give it to him to carry. It looks like he's usually have. But if he's going to wear it, then it's allowed. One more in the Mechaber. Mutter liknes bayis beretz Yisrael min ha'ini yuri b'Shabbos v'choysim v'mayla b'erkoit shalem mechsav shalem ben asrak n'abonim shemish beretz Yisrael gozru. You're allowed to buy a house from a goy on Shabbos, and you can even allow him to write about it, to write it up in their books.
Write a contract.
Write a contract, exactly. Now, the Mechaber doesn't add any other thing to that. It's an Issur D'Oraisa to write, telling him to write, but you're allowed because the mitzvah of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael is so great. They allowed Amirah LeNochri mamish with the D'Oraisa for the purpose of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Now, the Ramah adds something that says this is only mutter if he's writing it in his own name, which is not in Hebrew, and writing in other languages is only the Rabbanon, so it's like a shvus to shvus. Mishnah Berurah brings most Rishonim disagree with this opinion, which is only the Urza Ruah, that writing in other languages is Rabbanon. Most Rishonim disagree. They say writing in any language is D'oraisa, and this is not about other languages. This is about Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, and you're allowed to have a goy do, even a D'oraisa for the purpose of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael.
If it's a guy. Arabic country.
Yeah, or any other language, English, whatever. Not Hebrew. D'oraisa, exactly, to be able to buy land in Eretz Yisrael.
Not yourself.
A Jew to buy land.
Draft the contract?
No, the Jew can't. You can't do the melacha yourself. I don't know what you meant. Yeah. The Jew cannot do the melacha yourself. Yeah.
What could be there? Sign it here to buy. Sure.
Can the goy sign it here? That makes no difference. Wherever he is.
Giving up rights to the land.
Wherever he is, yeah. That's the point. Is where he is. The point is where the land is. Okay, let's do the mechaber. Sorry, the Alter Rebbe. Aser. Loim LeNochri chav beis. Aser loim LeNochri be'achil me'er Shabbos shilachutz l'tchum b'Shabbos achri krei v'hamesh yevoy la'aspidoi. Even if the fellow passed away on Erev Shabbos, you cannot tell the goy to go outside the tchum on Shabbos. Meaning to say to leave now, and he's going to be traveling on Shabbos to get the relatives. We don't override any isser for the purpose of making a husband. Even if he brings flutes, which they used to use at funeral services, you can't use them. That's not considered a mitzvah. That is doich Amirah LeNochri. A sick person who got very sick. We're afraid he's going to die. And he's asking that his relatives should be sent for. You're allowed to pay a goy or to rent. You're going to pay him afterwards, obviously. That should be able to run even many parsa, Shabbos on Shabbos. Wants Shabbos to bring his relatives. Even though they don't allow you to make a schirus on Shabbos. Let's translate schirus. Hiring on Shabbos for a mitzvah. Here they allowed it so that he shouldn't be upset. Prevent the sick person from suffering anguish should his desires not be heeded. Now, it's interesting, by the way, the Alter Rebbe is adding a point here. It's not just Amirah LeNochri. It's an actual schirus. You're actually allowed to make a rental arrangement with him. I'm going to pay you X amount. You can't make any hiring arrangement on Shabbos. But if necessary, you can do it in this case. If the guy wants to know how much he's going to get paid. Normally, in all these discussions of Amirah LeNochri, we don't allow money to be mentioned specifically. You can always allude to it. I'll fix you up. I'll take care of you, whatever. But here, because of the need to make this fellow not be upset, we're even allowing you to hire him. We'll get to that. A person who buys a house or a field in Eretz Yisrael from a goy. You're allowed to tell the goy to write a contract on Shabbos. If he's leaving, obviously, in other words, that means if he's not going anywhere, then what's your rush, right? Unless you're afraid he's going to change his mind, or whatever. But so no. Sorry.
You want some money?
No. You can't give him any money.
You can't give him money?
You cannot give him money. No.
Oh, why?
But you're doing it personally. You can't do it. Yeah, Amirah LeNochri is different.
Even if you're using a goy to give the money?
Using a goy is okay.
Yeah.
Tell the guy to open your safe, take out your gold, and give it. B'vakasha. I wouldn't tell him the password to my Chase account, but that's something else. But if you have gold in the safe, you can tell him. I'm pretty sure the Mishnah Berurah says that clearly, that you can't actually pay him. Mara loy kisim, ketzeru oisem, mara loy kisim shel dinarim, You show the guy your money bags, and he takes it. You can't have to actually do it yourself, but you can show him to take it.
To make this mitzvah,
Exactly.
not for other purposes, no?
No, not for other purposes. You can't usually buy or sell. Besides the LeNochri, you can't buy or sell because that's business. You could get him to finalize the sale in the secular court, assign it. Because telling a guy to work on Shabbos only asks with Rabbana. They did not decree as a result of the mitzvah of settling Eretz Yisrael. Even though they did decree by other mitzvahs, right? We said the main halacha is you cannot tell a guy to work to do a malacha deraisa for other mitzvahs, but for the purpose of Eretz Yisrael, they allowed it. The Mishnah Berurah adds the same applies in Syria also, even though for some things it's Eretz Yisrael, for some things it's not. For the purpose of Eretz Yisrael, it's considered like Eretz Yisrael. Nowadays, when the local Gentiles in Eretz Yisrael are Yishmaelim, Arabs, they're not idol worshippers. Some say you can't buy it from them on Shabbos because you're not saving it from idol worshippers. Others say no, that Kaf HaChaim brings that it's allowed because you're still saving it. I mean, he's talking about a different halacha, but it's the same. He holds it still in mitzvah. Yishua Eretz Yisrael. Reb Shlomo Zalman says the same thing. A general question that the Dirsher brings down, a very interesting kasha. He says, why don't we allow all Amirah LeNochri for a mitzvah, even by deraisa, because the guy could do it with the shinui. Tell him to write for mitzvah, not for Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, for other mitzvahs. Why? Because he could write with his left hand. Could write with between his fingers upside down, which we said by muktzah, by the way. We said you could tell him to move muktzah because moving muktzah with the shinui is allowed, and he could do it with the shinui. So what's the difference? So he brings from Chaim Kanievsky that because it's difficult to do, we don't apply this rule, that he could do it. So it's difficult. It's not likely. It's not likely. He's not going to. So you could say something about muktzah, but I guess carrying something l'achayad is not complicated. But actually doing a real malacha l'achayad is a complicated thing. So it's not considered that he could do it.
So there's a similar idea. If someone's asked a guy to bring your stuff, let's say for example, can you bring my stroller up to the 25th floor? So there's a focus. What is it? Obviously he can take it on his shoulders and bring it up. It'll take him a longer time. He would never actually do that. And on the other flip side, that no one would ever choose to.
Right.
25 flights of stairs, they wouldn't even do that a lot of times for money.
Right.
So that it wouldn't be on. This is.
That's interesting. Similar concept. Interesting. Okay, Rabbi Said, before we break, I do want to ask, I do want to take off one day next week in honor of Yutas Kislev. It's a big day in Chabad, Chag HaGeula, and so on. I'm sorry? So which night is better for you guys to take off?
It's Tuesday, no? It's Tuesday.
What night is the big
Tuesday. Check.
It's usually the night after.
Well, you know the better. No?
Especially here, because it's actually Yutas and Chaf for both days. So in between, it's like you got to get a bit of both.
It's Chaf at night.
Yeah. So the only thing is,
Of Kislev is Tuesday night.
yes, the only thing is that I may have to go somewhere on the Monday night. So if so, I'm gonna have to pre-record the class. I don't know yet.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday. So Tuesday we are.
You're off on Tuesday. So I hope to be able to be here on Monday night. If I can't, because I already told them I could do it. I wasn't sure about Monday or Tuesday. Let's do Monday. Ay.
My mom's birthday Monday. My mom's birthday is.
So what do we do?
We'll learn during Hanukkah.
No, Hanukkah we're taking off Monday night, by the way. I always give off one night for Hanukkah. We're taking off Monday night of Hanukkah. Tuesday night we'll learn, if you guys don't mind. But Monday night we'll take off. I usually go to the Gulfstream thing.
So Monday?
That's a Monday night, yeah.
Monday.
So my question is what to do. No, I just got a text this. I said I went for Bering and Boca, and I didn't know if it was Monday or Tuesday. It's Monday, Lamaisa. So I'm basically gonna pre-record. I'll pre-record the class. What else can I do? Unless you guys want to learn live, I can teach the class live.
Monday?
Yeah, Monday during the day.
Before Bring, you know, it's gonna be.
Monday night I'm from Bring. I can do it during the day. I don't know if you guys are available.
What time during the day?
It's not crazy. Can we just like thing?
Wednesday night I'm busy that week. Sunday I'm not busy. Sunday night?
Sunday night's okay for me.
100%.
So I don't know what, maybe I just learned my Chavrusa and whatever you.
Don't please don't report to our plans for me. You're questioning like the kids.
Why don't we do Sunday, Monday?
I'm assuming a lot of you don't listen to me.
Rabbi, let's do Sunday, Monday.
What about an hour each?
No, do 20 minutes.
1 hour on Monday, 1 hour on Tuesday.
Do 20 minutes session. It's easy to listen to. I'll be honest with you. 20 minutes, it's easy to listen in one shot. 1 hour,
Yeah,
you don't have the
Can we
free
just
time,
skip
1
it?
hour to sit.
There's no interaction. There's no
Skip
interaction.
2 shiurim, and then the next week also 3 shiurim.
I'm perfectly happy to do during the day.
Sorry?
People have kids.
Oh, but you can record 20 minutes. Break it 20 minutes. I'm sure people driving the car can listen for 20 minutes straight. But
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do, my friends. I'm going to give the shiur on Monday and Tuesday.